Hi there, this is Mary from VoIP Hubs. Welcome back to part 3 of our FusionPBX training series. In this video, we will focus on hold music, time conditions, and call centers. Before we get started, a little bit about us. We are VoIP service providers, and we have a multitude of different plans ranging from $16 every month to $50 every month. In addition to this, we have our cloud-based hosted solution, which is $15 every month per extension. If you would like any additional information, please don't hesitate to visit www.voiphubs.com, or you may click on the link in the description box below. Alright, without further ado, let's begin with our first topic, which is on-hold music. FusionPBX by default will provide you with multiple on-hold music. You may find this by going to Applications and then clicking Music on Hold. Upon doing so, you'll be met with this specific interface. As you can see, the current categories that you have range from 8 kHz to 48 kHz. Each category has 4 on-hold music that you may choose from. If you would like to listen to this, please click on the left button. If you were to put your cursor over it, it will say play/pause. And then the right one will say download for you to be able to download it. Before you upload your own on-hold music, please note that FusionPBX works really well with .wav files. So if you have a .mp3 file, you may find an online software that can convert it to .wav, and then you may upload it on your server. So to be able to add your own on-hold music, please click on Add, and this will come up right here. What if you would like to add your own category? Now, why would someone do that? I personally like doing that because I feel like it keeps everything very organized. So, let me further explain to you by showing you what I mean. Click on the Add button. You may put whatever you like, but I like to go by this specific format. So, by VoIP Hubs, which means that any on-hold music that we add into this category is by VoIP Hubs. So now that we have the category up and running, click on the Select text box, and it will open the dialog box, find where you've put your on-hold music, select it, you will see it appear here, and then click on Upload. Once you upload it, it will go all the way to the bottom of the list. So category is by VoIP Hubs, and this is what we just uploaded right now. So now that we've uploaded the on-hold music to the server, let's add it to the extensions. Go to Accounts, go to Extensions, pick whichever extension, scroll all the way down, and hold music. Just click the drop-down menu and you will see the category by VoIP Hubs. Now you may have 10, 15, 20 different on-hold music within this category. It does not matter. Let's say each on-hold music is 1 minute. What it does is it goes by sequence. It goes to the first one, then the second one, the third one, and so on and so forth. Upon doing that, please click Save. And now this extension will be able to have this specific on-hold music. This on-hold music is great for parking calls as well as holding calls. The next topic that we will be discussing is time conditions. Now, I've noticed that this topic is a little bit difficult for some clients to understand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go step by step and show you the settings that I personally use to make sure that the time condition is set accordingly for the call flows to reach the proper destinations and for your clients to ultimately, which is what we really want, at the end of the day to be satisfied and happy with your service. So what are time conditions? Time conditions are basically the specifications that you input within the server to tell the server, this is when my client is working. When my client is no longer working, this is where I want the calls to go. So if your client works from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, that would be the working hours time condition. So during the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, calls come in, where do they go? Once 5 o'clock hits and it's no longer working hours for them and they're closed, where would you like the calls to go then? This is where you input it. So to be able to reach the time condition, please click on Applications, go all the way down and click on Time Condition. Then click on Add. You'll be met with this specific interface. So let's start off with the name. So Because this specific time condition is for my client's working hours, generally I like to name it working_hours. Now we choose the extension. I'm going to choose extension 800. Please make sure when you're choosing extensions, whether it may be for the general extensions under the Accounts tab, or IVR, or Ring Group, or Call Center, or Time Condition, please make sure the extension that you choose is not duplicated somewhere else. If it is, it will correlate with that destination, and ultimately the calls will not be working properly. So the next aspect is the settings. Within the settings, you have condition, value, and range column. And you have currently 2 lines to be able to input this information. I usually choose 4 lines, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But before I do anything, I'm going to add those lines. To be able to do that, click on the plus sign. If you click it once, it adds 1 line. If you click it another time, it adds another line. So let's first start off. Let's say this company works from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So we will start off with the day of the week, and we'll say Monday to Friday. And then we'll start off with the hour of day. As you can see, you have 2 options. You have hours of day, which goes by increments of 1 hour, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. And then you have time of the day, which goes on increments of 1 minute. So 12 o'clock, 12:01, 12:02, so on and so forth. This is if you want to be extremely detailed about your time condition. But for this example, I'll be choosing hour of the day, and we'll just do the generic 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The next thing that I like to input is the year. So choose the year, 2022, let's say to 2023, but as you can see, your options go up to 2032. And then the last thing that I like to choose is month. So I'm going to say from January to December. So now that we've got the condition, the value, and the range properly implemented, we must choose where we like the calls to go. So between Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., incoming calls should go to, and then click on the drop-down menu, and we have all the options that we've implemented prior to this. We have the extensions, we have an IVR, we have the Ring Group, we have the extensions voicemail, and we even have other options such as hang up or check voicemail, but generally these are not what is used. Probably hang up is the only one that I've seen used in time conditions. So for this example, I'm going to say between the working hours time condition, when a call comes in, I would like to go to Ring Group 600, which is the one that we created in our previous video. Then I click Save. So this time condition setting has been implemented. Now, when 5 p.m. hits and this client has officially closed the business for the day, where should the calls go? To be able to do that, please scroll down, and then you see that you have the alternate destination label. This is where you choose this option. If you click on the drop-down menu, you see that you have all the options that you had prior when we chose the working hours time condition. And for this example, I'm just going to simply say I want it to hang up. So now after hours, what it does, it just simply hangs up the call. And then once next day comes through and it hits 9 a.m., then it starts going to Ring Group 600. So now that we have the time condition up and ready, we must direct it properly within our inbound routing. To be able to do that, please click on Dial Plan, click on Destinations, and then click on your inbound route. So now when our main number is called, it goes to 700 main IVR. What we like it to do is to always hit the time condition first. So for instance, Call comes in, it checks the time condition, it checks if the company is currently working. If it is, it goes to the proper destination. If it's not, it goes to the alternate destination. Now, I've seen clients who have an IVR first. So for instance, they have multiple locations. Press 1 for this location. Once the client presses 1, then it goes to the time condition and checks, are they working at this location right now or not? So, what we're going to do is we don't want to involve an IVR into this. We just want it to plainly say, if the calls come in within working hours, go to the time condition first, check that it's working hours, go to the proper destination. If it's not, go to the alternate destination, which will hang up the call. So click on the drop-down menu, click on the time condition, click Save. So now your inbound routing is set accordingly. Your time condition is set accordingly. There is one more thing that you have to do to make sure that the time condition works properly, and that is to implement a time zone on your server. So let's say, for instance, you are working in the US, but you have a client that is a Canadian customer, and there is a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour difference between you and your client. If you were to implement your time zone, then that will completely disturb or disrupt the time condition itself, because there is that 3 hour gap between you and your client. So it will only take in your time condition, or sorry, it will only take in your time zone rather than your client's time zone, and then the time condition will not work. So to be able to add a time zone, please click on Advanced, click on Default Settings, and in the text box type in time_zone. Click Search, and you will be met with this interface. Now, we're focusing on the domain subcategory time zone. Click on the checkbox, and over here you see that these options came up. Please do not press Add. What you need to do is to click on Copy, then choose from the drop-down menu your client's domain. So we'll be using the training.voiphubs.com domain, which means it will copy this condition to the training.voiphubs.com domain, and instead of clicking Add again, we just click Paste. Click OK, and now it's been pasted in. But we have not specified the value. The current value right now is at UTC. So how do we specify the value? Go on Advanced, click on Domains, click on the domain in question, then click on Settings. So now these are the settings that you have. Please ignore these settings right here. This was just something I was testing earlier. So now we must choose the proper time zone. Click on the time zone itself. On Value, click on the drop-down menu, and let's say that your client currently lives in New York. So we're going to scroll up and find the appropriate time zone for you. So let's say America/Toronto, which gives you the UTC negative 05.00, which is the same time zone as New York. Click that, press Save. And to make sure that the server truly understands all of the information that you've implemented on it, it's always good to do the following. Click on Status, click on SIP Status. Upon clicking on it, our main focus will be these 3 buttons up here: Flush Cache, Reload ACL, and Reload XML. It's always good every once in a while to activate these buttons just by simply clicking on them, and it will kind of regenerate your system, your FusionPBX server, to flush the cache, reload specific parts of the ACL, the XML, and just generally have your settings and specifications up and running accordingly. Alright, so now that you've done this part, you've done the time condition itself, you've updated your inbound routing, everything should be good to go regarding the time condition. Our final topic for this video are call centers or call center queues. Now, this does not generally mean that a client needs to have a call center to have this configured. Call centers are best with clients that have a high amount of traffic reaching their system. So what happens is you create a call center or call center queue, you add agents to that call center. A call comes in. If there are available agents, it automatically rings to their extension. If there are currently no available agents, that call goes into a call queue, and that aspect is configured by you. So it goes into a call queue, it stays there for a certain amount of time, and it rings to any available agent when made available. So the importance of this is that your client doesn't want to lose a phone call. So having it in a call queue basically helps your client have the capability of keeping all incoming phone calls in a certain space, which is the call queue, so they won't lose them, and then the client won't be frustrated that they're not able to reach this high traffic company. So we'll first start off by creating the call center. To do that, please go on Applications, then go on Call Centers, and then click on Add. We will name this queue Support because for this example we'll be using all support extensions. We'll call it the Support queue. We choose an extension that hasn't been used before, which is extension 900. You may skip the greeting or you may implement a greeting. Just know that this means that the greeting will be heard first and then the call queue will be initiated, or the phone calls will start coming into available agents. Some of our clients generally skip the greeting and just choose music on hold. So basically, when your client is in the call queue, there's music being heard, and sometimes our clients tend to like to have some sort of audio indicating that they're next in line, or specifying certain details about the company, basically keeping their clients engaged while they're in the call queue. So again, you may choose that by clicking on the drop down menu, and for me, I will just choose the Buy VoIP Hubs Music on Hold. Strategy. This is how you decide how the incoming calls are being directed. Would you like it to ring to all extensions under the call center queue, or the longest ideal agent? Would you like it to go round robin to basically the next available agent? Top down, agent with least talk time or fewest calls, or sequential? Or would you just like it to be directed randomly to any agent? So I will choose ring all. You may choose to record or you may choose not to record. The next thing that is pretty essential is the max wait time. Basically, how long are your clients that are calling in going to stay in this call queue? So for this example, I'm going to choose 150. The system goes by seconds, so 150 would be about 2.5 minutes. That's how long I want my call queue to be, only 2.5 minutes. The next setting is max wait time with no agent. So what is the maximum wait time for the system to try and attempt to call an available agent so they may take care of the client that is in the call queue? So for this example, I'll put it at 30, which means every 30 seconds, the system will attempt to call an available agent so they may take care of the client that is within the call queue. The next thing is the timeout action. Basically, after it reaches the maximum wait time of 2.5 minutes, where would you like the call to go? So for this example, I would just say it goes to extension 100's voicemail. If you scroll down, the next thing is the discard abandonment after. So basically, once it reaches the 2.5 minutes, that is the amount of max wait time, it goes into the abandoned aspect of the call queue. You may choose how long it stays in that before it becomes completely abandoned. So let's say, for instance, we want to choose 300, which means that it will be around 5 minutes for the call to be completely abandoned from the call queue. And then if you scroll down, you have other options, the announce sound, announce frequency, exit key. So if somebody would like to exit the call queue, they just press a certain key. Let's choose it as 0, and then you may add a description. So that takes care of the essentials when it comes to creating the call queue itself. After doing the following, please click Save. So now the call queue has been created, or the call center queue has been created. The next thing that we must do is add agents to the call queue. Let's say you have, 100 employees and only 15 of those are support. You're not going to be adding all the 100 employees. You're basically going to be focusing on the 15 that take care of support. So let's add the agents. Click on the top right option that says agents, and you'll be met with this specific interface. Now let's add an agent. So I will add extension 100. Now the agent name could be, the colleague name or your client's name or whatever your client specified the names to be, but for me, I generally like to make it easier and just put the extension number. So agent name would be 100, the type would be callback. The call timeout basically means that how many times should a call that is being directed to this agent ring. So if in our previous video, I stated that per one ring it's 5. So if we put it as 30, that means that agent 100 will incoming calls to that agent will ring 6 times. So that is what the call timeout is for. The username currently doesn't have anything under, and again, this is not actually essential whatsoever. Agent ID and agent password, these two things are only essential if you would like to implement this type of ability for your agents. So there is a feature code to log into a call center. I believe it's *22. So your agent would press *22 and then have to input the agent password for them to be logged in. Generally, I find this part not to be necessary, but again, it really depends on your clients and how they like things to be organized. So there is actually a way of bypassing this by putting a specific condition in the *22 feature code dial plan. And this is something that I may come back to afterwards, or if you are very interested in this, please let me know in the comments and we'll let you know how to be able to implement it. The next thing is the contact. Basically, we just choose this agent belongs to this contact. So agent 100 belongs to extension 100. The next thing is the status. Are they available? Are they logged out? Usually I like to put it as available, and then the agents themselves will just press *22 to log out, and then the next day for their next shift they press *22 to log back in. So no answer delay time. Basically this means after it's rung for six times to agent 100 and the agent did not pick up, how long will it wait before it attempts to ring to that agent again? So this is per second, so let's say I would like it to try again within 10 seconds. Maximum no answer. This is basically saying what is the maximum amount of times that a call will be directed to an agent, and if they don't answer, how many times should we try? Now, one thing about this is, let's say you put it at 5 times, so it attempts 5 times to try. It rings for 6 times, then waits 10 seconds, and then it does this 5 times over and over again. Let's say for whatever reason the agent doesn't answer after the max no answer, the agent automatically goes on break, which means their status changes and no incoming call will be directed to them. I generally like to bypass this. I like to put it as 0, which, doesn't give the system the capability of changing the status of an agent. Anything could happen. An agent can be extremely busy doing one thing, they miss a couple of calls, and then they don't realize they're on break, and then they're not receiving any calls whatsoever. So I try not to overcomplicate things and just put it as 0. Now, the wrap-up time basically means the time before an agent is allocated to another queue. We don't necessarily have to worry about this within this example, so let's just keep it at 10. The reject delay time and the busy delay time basically mean if an agent rejects a call, how long before it attempts to give that agent the capability of retrieving the call that they rejected. And for the busy delay time, it basically means that let's say an agent is currently, on DND, which is do not disturb. What is the wait time before the system attempts to call that agent again and provide that agent with the capability of assisting a client that is currently in the queue? And then, of course, you have the option of recording, but we'll just keep this as false. Okay, so now this is completed. Let's click Save. So now we see that Agent 100 has been added to the call center agents. Let's go back. Let's click on the call center queue. And let's add the agent under the agent's setting. So we'll do Agent 100. It's the only extension that's currently available. We'll click Save. One very, very important aspect when it comes to call centers is to make sure that you start the call center itself. If we just leave it as exactly what it is right now, nothing will happen. All of our efforts would have gone to waste because we haven't started the call center queue. So start the call center queue, get the OK, and one more thing, please make sure that let's say you're implementing a brand new music on hold. Again, you will need to stop the server, stop the call center queue and then start it again for this to take effect. So please keep that in mind. Any change, it's always good to restart or just manually stop and start the call center queue. Okay, so now we have to direct incoming calls to reach this call center queue. So we click on dial plan, click on destinations, click on our destination, and within the actions tab, we will change this from working hours, which was leading to the time condition that we recently implemented, to 900 support. Click Save. So now that we have this for incoming calls, why don't we just do some testing? For the purpose of this video, I've changed the call timeout to 10 seconds. So basically it rings 2 or 3 times before it waits that 10-second period where it tries to ring 2 or 3 times again. And we've implemented no max, no answers, so we'll continuously do that until the client is been taken care of. So generally when we want to look at active calls, we go on status and then active calls, but with call centers is a bit different. So what we do is we just go back to the main call center queue, we choose the support, and then we click on view. Currently, there are a couple of abandoned calls. These are just phone calls I made earlier to do some testing, and the status is abandoned because I actually hung up the phone call. If the person was actively still in the call queue, then you would see that it says trying, because it would be trying to reach an available agent. Right now, we only have Agent 100, which is available and is waiting for any phone call to come through. And you see how many times that they've missed a call, how many times that they've answered a call, and the amount of time that they have been active. So currently, Agent 100 has been active for 25 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call in. So now it's trying and it's offering extension 100. That's the second ring. That's the third ring, and then it says no answer. So it stays as trying, but it adds 1 to the mixed call. 10 seconds, and it's going to offer it one more time. So it should be about 2 to 3 rings, and then it will stop offering and wait in the call queue. Wait about 10 seconds again, and then So I'm going to actually, I've lowered the volume and I want you guys to hear when we first set up this call queue, we made sure that the on hold music was basically what the clients calling in would be hearing. So let me just put it on speaker to showcase this aspect to you. So instead of hearing the generic ringback, they'll be hearing on hold music. We'll just keep them a bit more engaged and wanting to stay within the call queue to then be able to have some assistance from an available agent. And let me just close the call. Now it will say that it's abandoned because I've hung up, and it will stay within this for about 5 minutes. This concludes part 3 of the FusionPBX training series. For part 4, I'll be focusing on the following topics: voicemail to email, fax servers, follow me, and call forwarding. Now, if you have anything else that you may be interested in understanding or having some sort of tutorial recorded for it, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below, and if I have enough time, then I will try my best to focus on it. Thank you so much for sticking with me. This has been quite a lengthy video, but I think that I've provided you with quite a bit of information to get things up and running. And I truly hope that the information that I provided you will help you successfully achieve your objectives. This has been Mary from VoIP Hubs, and I hope that you have yourself a wonderful day.